You must have seen this problem before. Which printer is the best? Usual problem with three distinct windows. Well, some of the recommendations you got to make. Uh, it's one of the options is moderate use. When is the best to use the inkjet, and how could inkjet printer change its cost so that it is Mr. Green's all-time favorite. So that's what the context is. These are some of the limiting factors. Basic usage is up to 1000 pages, and moderate usage is 4000 pages. Okay, so first thing is you got to be familiar with different representations. What does it mean? Well, I have been always talking about different representations, different aspect of expression of mathematics. Could be graph, could be tables, or it could be algebra statement. We call it algebra, expression, equation, those sort of things. Now, first attempt is to write equations. Let's write algebra equations. Laser printer is already given. It's already given cost equals 0.12 P as the amount of pages plus 400. I'm going to read it. The cost equals 12 cents per page. Well, 12 cents is written as 0.12 times P is the amount of pages, number of pages they're talking about. Now, let's look at the inkjet. Now, this is a little bit challenging because you have to write the equation now. $100 is the y-intercept. What it means? Well, that's the cost of the printer. And per page, you are paying 20 cents. And this is how you write 20 cents. And times it by P gives you the total cost. Now, how about the color laser printer? It's a constant cost. So if you are thinking this is the number of pages and the cost, so the cost remains constant, $800. So that's $800. Something like y equals some kind of number, like say 700 or something like that. took some time to erase the screen so that I've got plenty of space to do rest of the working. Well, as you can see, one of the lines are given. This line is given, so let's label it. What does it tell you? It starts around okay, 100. Just ignore those numbers. I'm not sure what they mean by all those numbers. To me, it seems to be some kind of error, so for the time being I'll ignore it. Now that line seems to be, it starts at 100, so that is inkjet. So and what I'll do, I'll write down the equation for that, which is 0.2 p plus 100, which is the cost. It's always good to label the lines so that later on you have a good understanding of which line you are talking about. Now this one starts at 400, so starts 400 and it goes oh, that's quite difficult because it says 0.12 cents. Now it'll be almost impossible to draw that on that sort of scale. Look at that, it goes from 0 to 1200, and we are talking about 0.12, which is an insignificant number. So what I'm going to do now, I will use instead of decimals, I'll use fractions. And I know 0.12 is 12 over 100, and what I want to do, I want to use say 1000, which will be pretty large scale, and that'll give you 120. So, and you might have to look at the equivalent fraction. That means it could be 240 over 2000 or 360 over 3000. You need to understand that at level 1 NCEA. Right, so I will possibly try to draw another point, because if we have 2 points we can draw the line. So for 1000 you have 120, which is still not so easy to locate because this is a small graph paper. It will be somewhere over there. No, sorry. See, that's the horizontal line. From there it goes up to 120, somewhere over there. So if you connect those 2 points, always remember 2 points, it'll be something like this. It's getting messy. I took another pause and tidied up this area. So the line is approximately this one, and you need to label it which is 0.2p plus 100, 0.12 plus p plus 400. Right, so I hope this time I'm alright. You got to label those. It's quite messy because my screen space is quite limited. So when you will be doing, you make sure the graph paper is pretty big as possible, and then you will be able to locate the points quite clearly, because if you look at this point of intersection, point of intersection, the students find it hard to understand point of intersection. Well, when you are sort of crossing over roads, you always come well across that word intersection, Takanini intersection. And that's what it means. That means two lines are crossing each other and giving you a common point. We call it a simultaneous point, which is a big word. This is a simultaneous solution, but it's a common point, basically. That's exactly what it means. The next line I'm going to draw is this one. A color laser printer costs 800 up to 4,500 pages. So up to 4,500 pages, which is this line, it is 8,000, right? So up to that point, it stays at $800. So that's the color one. And Mr. Green wants to buy that color printer, but the cost seems to be pretty on the heavier side. Now comes the real problem of finding out those intersections, because if you cannot find those intersections, you won't be able to make some kind of decision whether to stay with this or whether to stay with this or whether to stay this line. So that's one of the things I have been talking about for quite some time. One of the things you can do, you can substitute the values like c equals 0.12 p plus 400. So substitute that p with this 1000 pages and find out some number. What I'll do, I'll roll it over to another video because it's getting longer than about 13-14 minutes. So I'll stop there. Thanks.